It was meant to be just another rally ahead of the US presidential election. But the events that unfolded at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday may well have changed the course of American politics and the November election. An assassination attempt on the former US president has left America and the world stunned. The shots rang out at 6:10 p.m. on Saturday evening. Trump clutched his right ear as blood spurted out. He then ducked for cover as his supporters screamed and Secret Service agents raced to surround and protect him. Within moments, someone shouted, "Shoot her down," and the agents began moving Trump off stage to safety. "Wait, wait, wait, wait," he called out, then pumped his fist in the air and defiantly shouted, "Fight, fight." The crowd roared and responded with chants of USA, USA. That image of Trump holding his fist in the air, blood streaming across his face as the Secret Service agents surrounded him, has already become the iconic image of the 2024 US presidential election. Not only has that picture been splashed across the front pages of newspapers in the US and around the world, including on the cover of Time magazine, many are already calling it one of the most iconic pictures in American history and one that may well determine the outcome of the US presidential election this year. For the first time in more than 4 decades, a man who was elected president of the United States was wounded in an assassination attempt when a gunman who appeared to have crawled onto a nearby roof opened fire at Trump. The explosion of political violence has come at an especially volatile moment in American history and further inflamed an already stormy campaign for the White House. After Secret Service snipers killed the shooter, the former president and Republican presidential nominee was taken to a hospital for treatment and declared fine by his campaign. A male spectator at the rally was killed and 2 other men critically wounded. The motive of the attack is still under investigation. The gunman who shot Trump in the right ear and was later neutralized has been identified by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks from Bethel Park in Pennsylvania. A voter registration record actually shows that Crooks was registered as a Republican. While there were unsuccessful assassination attempts or incidents targeting George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush and Barack Obama during or after their terms, Trump is the first current or former president to have been wounded in an act of violence since Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. Authorities in the US have reported a surge of threats against officials of both parties in recent years as anger and in many cases hate have come to dominate the political and social discourse in that country. The shooting came at a time when Trump was already leading Biden in most polls, both nationally and in battleground states like Pennsylvania. President Biden has been trying to quell an internal revolt from many Democrats who want him to withdraw from the race following his disastrous performance in a debate with Trump last month and multiple incidents that have further fueled concerns over his age and cognitive decline. Now, after the assassination attempt on him, there are those who say Trump just won the election and is certain to return as president in a few months. As we said, the image of Donald Trump moments after narrowly avoiding serious injury or death from an assassin's bullets, standing with his fist raised, blood streaked across his face, an American flag billowing in the breeze behind him, is already the defining image of this election. And the moment Trump shouted, "Fight, fight, fight," many of his supporters, who moments before had feared for their lives, began cheering. Needless to say, the incident has raised many serious questions about security in the US, with many slamming the Secret Service for its failure to prevent the attack, which could have been fatal, going by the visuals we've seen. Many say if a former president surrounded by heavily armed Secret Service agents is not insulated from violence, then how safe is an average American, especially at a time when the country is going through a highly volatile, turbulent and polarized phase? One can be pretty sure, though, that the dramatic moment when Trump was attacked, captured in scores of pictures and videos, will be the most talked about, dissected and debated issue in this entire election cycle. In a rare address from the Oval Office, President Joe Biden called on Americans to cool the temperature around political debate. He said, "It must never be a battlefield and, God forbid, a killing field. No matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence." But that appeal from Biden has done nothing to lower the political temperatures. A bitter blame game is on, and numerous Republicans have condemned President Biden and the Democrats and accused them of creating a rhetorical environment conducive to violence. They point to dire warnings about the former president becoming a dictator and threatening democracy as examples of the overheated language that could inspire an assassin. In particular, they highlight leaked comments the president made in private to donors last week about increasing the verbal attacks on Trump's record and putting a bullseye on him. Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., has said they've tried to take him out in so many other ways. Financially, they've tried to throw him in jail. It's almost as if they would love for this to happen. In fact, he also said that after the assassination attempt, those on the left can no longer accuse his father of culpability for the 6th January attack on the US Capitol. If the Pennsylvania shooting diffuses this line of criticism by Democrats, then it's just one way in which it will have fundamentally reshaped this presidential campaign. While multiple conspiracy theories are doing the rounds on the social media, including one that claims the entire attack was staged, fact is Trump has won the endorsement of many Americans who may have been sitting on the fence thus far. The incident came just 2 days before the Republican National Convention was scheduled to kick off. It starts today in Milwaukee, and it'll culminate with Trump taking the stage to accept his party's nomination on Thursday night. Trump says his convention speech will now be wholly different from the speech he had prepared before Saturday's assassination attempt. He says he wants to use the incident as an opportunity to unite America. But can he really do that? Will he do that? Remember, politics of persecution and victimhood have defined Trump's entire campaign so far, being the central theme of his rally speeches and social media posts. Analysts say that message will land with new force after the former president and his crowd of supporters were sprayed with bullets. Trump's legion of fans, many of who support borders on near messianic hero worship, will have all the more reason to identify with the man who almost lost his life while standing before them. Trump's brush with death and subsequent acts of defiance will also fit in with the contrast his campaign officials have been trying to draw with Biden, with their candidate embodying rugged masculinity and strength while his opponent appears too old and feeble. Democrats have spent the past 2 weeks in anguish over their president's political future. Now they have new concerns. There are those who say it no longer matters whether the Democrats field Biden or someone else in the race. After Saturday's incident, they insist Trump is now a sure shot winner. Has the assassination attempt on Donald Trump completely altered the course of this American election?